Hello everyone, welcome back to First Line Therapy. We're in our very last education session. I hope that you guys have learned a lot through this process and learned a lot about your bodies and maybe came away with some ideas about how you want to live a healthier life. Not just for how long you're going to live, but for the quality of life that you want to live. So throughout our education, we've taught it, and you should have received a nutrition plan. Even if you didn't get to receive your nutrition plan, maybe this is a future composition test and the nutrition plan that follows. Just remember those kind of key takeaways that it's better to eat a lot of lean proteins, good healthy fats, and reduce your intake of sugar and refined carbohydrates, stuff that's white, poor quality carbohydrates. Those are just some basic principles you can follow in your nutrition, even if you didn't get a nutrition plan. Also, remember everything that we talked about related to exercise. The numerous benefits that I don't really have in, but go back to the exercise. Think about all the benefits that you get there, even just little bits here and there can make a big difference. Remembering to do cardiovascular exercise and aerobic activity like walking or biking or running, and also that some weight bearing exercise is important too. And then we've also discussed how stress can affect our physical health and our minds so much, and we reviewed some ideas about why it's important to maintain your stress and have good coping strategies in place to manage your stress. And we also talked a little bit about catalyst and spark plugs, the importance of getting specific vitamins, minerals, and micronutrients like phytonutrients and antioxidants into a wide variety of healthy foods. And today we're going to wrap it up talking about detoxification. I know I've mentioned to you before that we have so many toxins that come into our bodies from chemicals and medicines that we take, or in our water, definitely in our foods. Any food that's processed or produced that you buy in a grocery store, unless it's organic, is going to have some level of toxicity that comes in with it. Even creams or products that we use to clean or put on our bodies, toxins come in through those methods. So our liver is the organ that helps us keep up with clearing out as much toxicity as possible. But we kind of live in a day and age and in a fashion that our liver has a really hard time keeping up with the levels of toxicity that comes in. So when toxins can't all be cleared from the body, they have to go somewhere. So many of the times that they end up in our fat cells. So toxins get stored in our fat cells. And sometimes what happens is when you're losing weight, you've worked really hard, you're starting to lose a little bit of fat. Well, those toxins have to go somewhere, so they go back into our bloodstream, back into our body, out of the fat cells. Well, then our liver can sense toxicity has gone up a lot because those toxins are being released from fat cells. Well, our liver is not able to keep up with that toxicity, so then it says, whoa, I don't know what's happening, but this is up with, and let's stop what we're doing because I can't keep up. So then you can actually experience a stall in your weight loss. So we're talking today about how you can reduce your level of toxicity. One, by aiding your body in ridding itself of toxins, reducing the amount of toxins that you're putting into your body. So think about trying to eat organic if it's possible for you, trying to eat less processed foods, those kinds of ideas. So detoxification is important for reducing the toxic burden on the body. It helps us remove elements that can lead to diseases, and helps cleanse our major organs, especially our liver and our intestines. So as I mentioned, we are constantly exposed to food additives, chemical solvents, metals, pesticides, herbicides, and alcohol. And our bacteria that live inside our bodies when they're doing their work, and some yeast. So if you're experiencing a high level of toxicity, is going to be any pain condition is going to be worse, but also headaches, muscle aches or pains, joint pains, flu-like fatigue, Your allergies may be worse. Things like skin eczema, those types of things are going to be a lot worse. Irritability, and I don't know if you've ever heard the term brain fog, but even having difficulty getting your thought processes together or being able to concentrate. So toxicity is associated with things like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and rheumatoid arthritis. We've seen out in the research that has been done. So our liver is the detox machine out earlier. So it filters 2 quarts of blood every minute. So it removes those substances from our blood. It tries to clean it out. But there are a couple different phases of detoxification. So our liver, it uses specific enzymes to try to change the structure of that toxin to a form that's easier for us to get rid of. And then that moves into phase 2. Some more enzymes act on that substance, and then it becomes a molecule that our body can get rid of, either through our kidneys, and we excrete those through urination, or either in our feces. So these are nutrients that are really important that can help support our liver in doing all of its work and detoxifying our bodies. So those include magnesium, copper, zinc, vitamin C, all of the B vitamins, and good healthy protein. So, how can we get those in besides, taking a good multivitamin every day? Well, we have stressed many, many times that it's important to eat lots of different fruits and vegetables. Those are found in wide varieties of fruits, vegetables, healthy grains, and lean proteins. So that's going to come in crucibles like broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, arugula, and also limonene containing foods like oranges and lemons. That's going to help get the limonene that you need and the vitamin C as well. Also strawberries. One thing that's mentioned here is to not necessarily eat a ton of grapefruit. Grapefruit's not necessarily bad for you, but we do know that it acts on the CYP450 tract in our liver. We've identified that as a specific process that our liver uses to process medications. Sometimes you'll notice on your medication bottles it'll say, don't consume grapefruit when you're taking this specific medication. That's because it's kind of blocking up the ability for that medicine for your body. So grapefruit's not the best source from those citrus fruits for the nutrients that we use. So your liver also needs the B family. You can get a lot of B vitamins in foods, but you also can take a B complex. So lots of times several B vitamins are combined into one supplement in a B complex. Curcumin. Curcumin is I would have to film an entirely separate video on the benefits of curcumin. Curcumin is actually found so look for turmeric. Turmeric also comes in capsules that you can just take as a supplement. That's really important. And then sulfur-containing foods like egg yolks, onions, and garlic. So you can also use milk thistle. You can find milk thistle in some teas. So sometimes you can find milk thistle tea in the grocery store that helps our liver to detox. So how do the vast majority of toxins come into our bodies? Through our mouth, through our intestines, and foods that we eat. So as we eat those foods, what is a tool that we can use? What's a tool that our body uses to help limit the amount of toxins that can get into our body through the foods that we're eating? And that is in our intestinal tract. Intestinal tract, our gut, is supposed to have a good, healthy lining, good numbers of really healthy bacteria, good healthy lining that can help protect us from bad chemicals being able to make it through the lining of our intestine and get into the circulation of the rest of our body. So one thing you can actually do to decrease the amount of toxicity entering your body is, one, of course, avoiding a lot of foods that have chemicals in them, but also supporting the health of your gut and good healthy bacteria to help it to prevent the leaky gut syndrome. Leaky gut syndrome is when we've eaten a lot of foods that aren't great for us. We may have experienced a lot to manage our stress well, and that hurts the intestines. And then the cells that are supposed to be very tight together, have very tight junctions between them, get a little more loose. And then the chemicals can slip through and make it into the rest of our body. So how can we do that? How can we prevent leaky gut? So it's important to have a good, healthy flora in our intestines. A flora means the variety and amount of good and bad. So we want to have a lot of good bacteria that our intestines need. So one of the best ways that you can do that is take a good quality. So a probiotic is going to help deliver those good, healthy bacteria directly to your intestines so that they can do their good work, and also help control the growth of the bad bacteria that's not so great. Also, limit the use of NSAIDs. The word NSAIDs here is anti-inflammatory. Those are like over-the-counter anti-inflammatory medications. Some are prescription, but that is like ibuprofen and Aleve, Motrin. So necessary, and they can really help us in the chronic diseases that you might have, the chronic pain problems that you might have. But just remember to try to limit them if you don't need them, but also take a good healthy probiotic if you're having to use an anti-inflammatory medicine, and try to take it with food. Try to take your NSAID with food on your stomach. So enlist nutritional support. That's like used to help support the growth, give good quality fuel to the good bacteria to grow, and minimize your alcohol intake, caffeine intake, and then of course processed foods and foods that have additives in them. And very importantly, manage your stress. And your intestine are connected with system tract. They have a very close relationship. Your mind affects your stomach, and your stomach affects your mind. So keep that very at the front of your mind when thinking about why it's important to manage your stress levels. So when you're selecting your probiotic, look for a couple of things. One is going to be that it contains lactobacillus. That's the predominant culture that you'll see. If you go and you pick up a probiotic off the shelf and you flip it over and you're looking, it'll tell you what probiotics are in there. The vast majority of them are going to have lactobacillus in them. But what's very important is to make sure they also have some of the Bifidobacter family. Okay, so just take this with you when you go to the grocery store. So you want to look that a probiotic contains both of those types, and then you're going to look to get the highest number of them for the price point that you can afford. And then there are certain prebiotics. Prebiotics are substances that can help the probiotics to grow, so help them to take, and those include honey, onions, bananas, and oats. So fiber is also very important for our intestinal health syndrome. You want to get a good amount of fiber in through your quality grains that you're eating. If you're not getting enough in, meaning you can tell by being constipated or having stomach pain, or some reasons like that might tell you that you're not getting enough fiber in, you can also take a fiber supplement if you need to. But most of the time, if you're eating a good diet that has lots of fruits and vegetables and grains, then you're going to be getting enough fiber. Fiber can be soluble or insoluble. Soluble fiber is fiber that dissolves in water and it kind of makes like a jelly-like substance. This helps our good bacteria to grow. It decreases the production of cholesterol. So a lot of times you'll see, like, for example, Cheerios. Cheerios will say it's a heart-healthy cereal. Well, the reason they're saying that is because it has a high amount of fiber in it. And that fiber we know is very heart healthy. And also slows the absorption of sugar. So soluble fiber is found in oats and beans, barley, and some fruits. There's also insoluble fiber. Insoluble fiber does not form that gel when it mixes with water. Aids in our elimination, keeps everything moving like it's supposed to. It can actually inactivate a lot of toxins that are found in our intestines, so kind of neutralizing those bad guys. And it also slows your glucose absorption. So for a good fiber, you'll see fiber in a lot of things that says good steady glucose control, or like things that are advertised as glucose control foods. That just means that it slows it down for a much more steady release of glucose for our body to use, instead of spikes and troughs that we get when we eat a lot of processed foods, refined carbohydrates, or sugars. So that's going to be found in wheat and wheat bran, whole grains, and vegetables. So how do we get enough? You're going to shoot for 25 to 30 grams a day. So that looks like about 5 servings of fruits or vegetables every day and some good healthy grain. That's a lot. That's why it's hard for people to get in the recommended amount of fiber every day, because for the whole across the US, we don't really eat good. So if you're not used to consuming that much fiber every day, start low and build slowly over time. Don't go from eating only maybe 1 or less servings of vegetables or fruit a day, and then, the next day you're having 2 servings of grain and your wheat bran cereal, and you eat 5 vegetables. Start really slowly and build up so it won't hurt your stomach so much. When I say hurt your stomach, I mean not that it's going to affect the health of your intestinal tract. We've talked about how healthy it is for your intestinal tract to have enough fiber. But what I mean is you're probably not going to tolerate the symptoms. So sometimes you can have a little gas, a little bloating. So just kind of take it slow. Over time, those symptoms will go away and you will feel better than you had ever before if you can just put up with that discomfort for a little while to build up to the fiber amount that you need every day. Also, make sure to drink lots of water while you're increasing your fiber intake. Fiber without enough water intake is concrete. It's a really bad place if you're not drinking enough water with your fiber intake. So what are some seasonings that we can use that can aid in our detoxification? Those are going to be garlic, onion, turmeric. Turmeric is what has the curcumin in it that I was talking about before. So you can cook with it or take it in capsules. Ginger, cinnamon, rosemary, and thyme. So just to wrap that up, I know it's kind of a lot of information. We want to support our liver with what we're eating, but also in reducing the amount of toxins that we're consuming. We want to protect our damage and help it to be the healthiest that it can be, and try to get enough fiber in our diet, but have to take a supplement if we're not good about eating all those vegetables and fruits that we're supposed to. So I hope that information was helpful to you. I think it will go a long way if you're experiencing some of those symptoms that we talked about. It's going to be a part of improving your overall health, and I look forward to finding out questions to ask today. So thank you so much for your time, and I hope you have a good day today.